Hey my fellow Druids, Zaior here with a brand new video featuring one of the most popular Druid builds. And this season it feels amazing across the board, pushing the beat, farming and boss killing. Let me tell you up front, this time we are using GRIZZLY Rage as our ultimate, along with Dire Wolf Aspect and Rabbit Bear, the core pillars of this setup. Later in the video, I will break down how the build works in a simple and clear way. I will show you the gear I'm running, the spirit boons, the skill tree, the Paragon page with glyphs, the new HORADRIC powers and their gems, and finally the runes, which are extremely important for this build. Also quick heads up, I'll be updating all my builds including the pulverized one, so keep an eye on the planner links for any changes. Let's get into the build. Alright my druids, this is a well-known build in the community, but we are tweaking a few things this time. We are running GRIZZLY Rage as our ultimate with Dire Wolf Aspect. The Dire Wolf Aspect is now considered utility, so you can slap it on your pants or boots. What it does is turn your GRIZZLY Rage into a werewolf skill, letting you use werewolf abilities like Shred and Bloodhowl. That means you get the benefits of both GRIZZLY Rage and werewolf skills, a deadly combo. There's also a no GRIZZLY Rage version in the planner if you prefer to keep it primal. But personally, I think the best way to play Druid this season is with GRIZZLY Rage, especially since I got buff and you can now combine with Rabbit Bear, which is super fun and powerful. So, to recap the pillars of the build, GRIZZLY Rage, which becomes a werewolf skill thanks to Dire Wolf Aspect. Rabbit Bear, which turns your direct damage into poison damage. A key item for this build is Waxing Gidus. Why? Because it boosts Toxic Claws, a passive that got a big buff for werewolf abilities. It adds plus 15% poison damage, and since you are using werewolf skill, that doubles. Synergizes perfectly with Rabbit Bear. These are the foundation of the build, and I will go over the rest in the next sections. Let's talk gear. I always try to showcase the most powerful items so you can see the build full potential. That said, there are non-mythic versions in the planner that are perfectly viable for clearing T4. For the helmet, I use Hair of Perdition, best in a slot. Its unique effect gives you plus 60% damage and try to roll plus core skill ranks. For the chest, we are going with Shroud of False Death, the best chest in the game, plus 1 to all passives, prioritize all stats. If you don't have it, Mad Wolf Glee is a good fallback. For the gloves, look for Willpower, Attack Speed and Shred ranks. For Aspect, we use Blue Red Beast, plus 75% shred damage with a chance to hit up 4 times. For Tempering, go with Werewolf Attack Speed and Luck Hit. For the pants stack Willpower, Max Life and Armor. Use Dire Wolf Aspect here, core to this build. Tempering, go with Max Life. Armor is already capped in GRIZZLY Rage. For boots, same stats. Willpower, Max Life, Movement Speed, and Aspect, Agit Wolf. Our weapon is Waxing Gidus. Gives Toxic Claws ranks and solid Shred boost, a beast this season. Offhand Totem, aim for Willpower, Max Life, Crit Chance, and the Aspect, Rabbit Bear. Tempering, go for double damage chance on Shred, max it out. In the Amulet, prioritize Willpower, Envenom, and Toxic Claws. Haven't tested Toxic Claws on Amulet, but it should be the best option. Aspect, Stormclaw, which adds latent AoE to Shred crits. Stormclaw doesn't scale with Rabbit Bear, but they work together. Crit plus Poison equals Synergy. For Tempering, Werewolf Attack Speed and GRIZZLY Rage Cooldown Reduction. For the rings, the first one is a Starless Sky. Boost attack speed or Cold Skitch ranks. I prefer speed. Ring 2, look for Willpower, Attack Speed and Vulnerable Chance. Aspect, Rampaging Werebeast for GRIZZLY Rage duration and plus 100% crit damage. Tempering, Werewolf Attack Speed and GRIZZLY Rage Cooldown Reduction. Here, we focus more on passive than skills, because we only use a few. Start with Maul. You will alternate with Shred to stack Quick Shift up to 6 times. Our main core skill, Primal Shred. We keep it because this is an overpowered poison build, similar to Pulverize. Vigilance reduces damage after using defensive skills, and we will casting Bloodhowl often. Ancestral Fortitude helps with resistance, and Backlash gives bonus damage after Bloodhowl. Electric Shock synergizes with Stormclaw, increasing lightning damage when enemies are immobilized. Core passives, Envenom, equal more crit damage, Toxic Claws, plus 55% poison damage, and if it's a werewolf skill, that's 110% crazy with Rabbit Bear. Defensive passives for Fortify and Tankiness, Max out GRIZZLY Rage for full power, and the key passive is Lupin Ferocity. Every 3 crits gives plus 75% crit damage. For this build, you will need several Paragon points available. I recommend prioritizing defense so you can farm comfortably in T4. We start with Fang and Claw, a very useful glyph for this build, since we will always be close to our enemies dealing damage, and this glyph increases damage to nearby enemies by 12%. The second board we will use is Last of Carnage, a powerful node for this build because with every critical hit we will recover 2 spirit, and our damage increases by 50%. The glyph we will use here is Headhunter, which gives 10% more damage to elites and boosts willpower for more overall damage. In the third board, we get a very important node so the build runs smoothly and you don't have spirit issues. We will take Inner Beast, which gives us 45% resource cost reduction, and if we stack it 10 times, it reduces the cooldown of GRIZZLY Rage by 5 seconds. The glyph here is Keeper, since our Shred now does poison damage and the extra 50% damage benefit us directly. The fourth board is Handed Malice, a node that gives us more damage to poison enemies, both mobs and bosses. The glyph we will use here is Spirit, which increases critical strike damage. The final board is Ancestral Guidance, which increases our damage by 40% after spending 75 spirit, and since this build constantly spends spirit, the buff is basically always active. The glyph here is Dominate, which significantly boosts our overpowered damage. The spirit boons we will use are the following: Gift of the Stack, to help with spirit regen; Swooping Attack for plus 20 attack speed, which is every necessary for this build; Avian Grad for increased critical strike damage; Bolster to help us stay fortified. You could also use Energize if you need more resource regen, or Calamity if you want longer GRIZZLY Rage uptime. Lastly, Masochistic, which helps us every time we land a critical hit. I'm still undecided on which HORADRIC power to use. For now, this Catalyst and Infusion combo has helped me the most, and the build feels great with it. If I make any changes, I will update the planner in the description. The Catalyst we are using is Disintegrate. The Infusion is Corrosive Vapor. As for the Arcanas, Bloody Charm, which executes enemies under 20% life instantly when you use Disintegrate. Tendrils Bundle to immobilize enemies and trigger passives like Electric Shock. Fracture Core to disable enemy auras. We will use the following gems: HORADRIC Crest for more damage reduction, Idol from Below, which gives plus 6% life and core stat, and Scornful Light, which increases elemental damage by 20%, meaning more shred damage. Though it makes you take 10% more damage, it's still worth it. Runes are extremely important for this build, because without them, your damage will drop significantly. The first rune will be Money Shan. Every time we will use a mobility skill, Shan activates, and Shan guarantees an overpower plus crit hit. That's the orange number you see on screen. So we will be constantly hitting OP crits with this build. The second rune combo will be Tam Cax. Every time we cast a core skill that isn't cannonade like Shred, we trigger Cax, and Cax increases our damage by 100%. These runes also work amazingly well for farming, so don't forget to use them for that purpose too. Alright my fellow Druids, here is a Pit 97 run so you can see the build in action. I even had a few minutes left, so I'm confident they can push Pit 100 with better gear. Its main strength is farming, but it definitely holds it out in the pit. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button and subscribe so we can keep growing the Druid community. See you in the next build. Peace.